Now we can start our processing. And the first thing I want to do, since I already got the sound pretty much of how I want it to be, let's hear these drums one more time. Let's mute the instrument. All right, so now I pretty much got my drums how I want them to sound. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to commit this whole entire kit, which I'm not having a problem with that at all. It's not really affecting anything, really. When I get to putting on every other plug-in or whatnot, and I might stem something out, we want to be able to have those resources free. So the commit feature in Pro Tools allows you to do that. And what that does is it prints the actual instruments of what you did back into the DAW system. So it deactivates the plugin. It prints out all of the files from the plugin, tracks them out how you already have it, group it to the same group channel or group bus that you have. And what it does, it just deactivate it and hide it and give you the newer copy of what you actually made, replace it with the new copy. So you can delete it, or you can do what I just said, hide it and make it inactive. I like to hide it and make it inactive because I like to go back. I might hear something differently. I might want to go back, reprocess it differently. If it's already processed or over processed or heavily processed, then now you got a problem. You can't do anything with it. If you delete it, once again, that's the same thing, risk that you take, chance that you take. So I always like to keep it and just hide it and make it inactive, just in case if I need to go back to it. All right. So we're going to hit OK. All right. So whatever type of sin that I had on it to begin with is going to be there as well. So just like I have these reverb sins already there, since I printed it out into a WAV file, which is what I was trying to do. Now you see all of these are waves. This is my drum track. All right. These were all MIDI notes because I produced this track right here in Pro Tools. All right. So now, by me turning these to WAV files, my drum track, that freed up battery, all right, which took processing, gave me resources back from using extra processing from my computer. All right. My computer will process better. All right. So now, this is my 808. So I need to commit that back in as well. I like the way this sound. I already gain staged it and everything. All right. Let's hear it. All right, so that's my 808. So I already gain staged it down. Let's go to mixer here and see where we at. Ooh-wee. All right, so where we at? I took it down like 10 dB. All right. And I didn't add anything to the interface or anything like that. I didn't make any adjustments. I could have, but I didn't make any adjustments or use any of the processing on the actual VST. All right. Now, normally I will use, my hardware 808. It has some very good 808s in these synths that I use. For the sake of the tutorial and time, I was trying to hurry up and find something that, that was already on hand. Coming with this 808 out of this VST. So now what we're going to do is we want to free up resources. A lot of people know that Contact takes up a lot of computer resources. They use a lot of computer power. So we already got our 808 how we want it. All right. So now let's commit it back into our DAW system. Bam. Now, just as simple as that, our 808 is now printed as an audio file. It didn't change anything or nothing. Hit the same way. If anything, it sounded like it hit a little bit harder. Okay, so now these tails I was talking about, I want to chop these off right quick. Where we at up here? Let's chop them off. This. All right, now let's get our drums together. Because once again, all right, I didn't use anything for this track, so once again, our drums is going to be the loudest, basically the loudest elements. Our kick and snare is going to be the loudest elements of our track. Whenever you're doing hip hop, R&B, pop music, any modern type of music that has drums, rock and roll, however, you're going to want your drums to be very distinct and stand out and be competitive, you know, because the drums is what get people to moving and you know what I'm saying, and dancing or whatever the case. That's the energy, you know, on top of the bass and everything else. So we're going to get our drums together first. Now what I'm going to do is highlight that section. Let's go back to our mixer and all right, just with our drums, let's mute our instruments right quick. All right, and our 808.
Invest in your music.
All right, now, what we want to do is we're going to put a linear phase EQ. We're not going to use a regular Pro Tools EQ, and I'm finna show you why. I'm finna show you why right now. Instead of using the regular Pro Tools EQ or any other dynamic EQ to make my roll-offs or to shape my kick, a dynamic EQ adds color, even when you're using filters. So, and it also gives you, it can create phase issues. So, for instance, I got it shaped how I want to right now. Okay, we'll put it at we'll roll off about 50 hertz on the bottom. All right, so that's about 50 hertz. Let's engage it. All right, so now that just took off the weight, you know, a bunch of the weight. Not really, not a lot, but enough to where you can put that 808 right there. All right, so now let's make this inactive. Let's put our 808 in with it. All right, so now here's the difference. When I add this linear phase, I haven't had any type of problems with making those type of cuts. So I already got a preset to roll off at 47 hertz. All right, now let's do it. So we're gonna go back and forth one time just so I can see. And now I just showed you right there. This is what I was talking about. Now you see how that kick still sound the original same way? It just rolled off that bottom like it's supposed to with this linear phase, because the linear phase does not add any type of coloration. Okay? It's for mastering and that type of stuff. All right? So, once again, let's try it one more again. That's the difference. All right. And once again, you can hear phase problems about to happen right now with this Pro Tools EQ. It sounds like a phase issue right there. And I got the headphones on listening to it. So now let's put the 808 in and let's add them both together. Let's mix them both together and let's see. Let's go back and forth. All right, we're gonna start raw. All right, let's put the Pro Tools. All right, linear phase. All right, that linear phase hitting harder. You see what I'm saying? Because for the simple fact, it's not changing the sound. So you can't even hear a difference. Only thing that you can tell that the weight of the kick being attenuated. You know what I'm saying? It's being taken off like it's supposed to. All right. So that's the difference from using a dynamic EQ when you're making cuts to something and a linear phase EQ. This adds color. All right. And this adds nothing. It's transparent. So it's going to keep it as close to the original as possible, which is key when you're doing when you mixing material for other people. All right, so let's get rid of this Pro Tools EQ. Now, I'm going to drag this down. And I want to get a little bit more impact out of my kick. All right, so now what we're going to do is, where's that EQ? I'm going to put a Neve channel strip. I would use the SSL, but I'm going to use the Neve channel strip. Pardon me, but we in it. Use the Neve channel strip. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is, first thing I like to do to my mixes or drums is add saturation. That's the first thing I like to do. So now let's move this out the way. All right. Now let's process our kick to give it more intensity. And the thing that I like to use to keep me in a good guideline or where my kick should be at is my actual group bus, my drum bus. So I like to put the API drum. It's a few different type of drum bus I like to use. And lately I've been using the API only because of it's kind of mid-rangey or whatever. And the drums, I be wanting them to be kind of mid-rangey a little bit. All right. It adds a certain type of mid-range grit to it. All right. And it glues the tracks to the drum kit together. But I've also had this same type of success with the variable mu, the manly variable mu, the old school Fairchild 670, the DBX 160, and also the the bus compressor, the SSL bus compressor, SSLG bus compressor. So, but anyway, let's get this kick together. All right, so as you can see, now we starting to get up there. All right, so that done added some saturation just off me clicking the mic input, running it through the preamp. All right, now, first thing we're going to do is we're going to tighten up this kick more. So let's turn on this gate. I want a fast release. All right. In the range, I want it to close all the way. So as you can see it up here, what this gate is going to do, or this expander, is going to make the kick tighter and going to create a click. And it will also, like I just put it on gate. Now you see how I just actually took the weight off. I shaped the kick and I took the bottom weight, more of the weight off, with just adjusting the threshold, so closing it more, making it tighter. So it's basically controlling and taming the tail of the kick and making it tighter and making it not hold so long. That way it won't be in the way of the 808. All right. And it also adds some type of form of click. So we're gonna change. We're gonna put it back at 20. All right. Let's go to the expander. All right, that's it. So now that I made a title, let's go before. Now you see how that kick's got a lot of weight on it and sound like an 808 a little bit. Now you see how that gate just made it tighter and took a lot of that weight off, that tail. All right. That is key. That is very key. And that locks that kick directly in place. I take passion and pride, in creating these kicks to hit like they do. Once I developed that your kick and snare is the most important part of your song when you have drums, all right? Especially in hip hop and R&B or trap or however. Let's add some compression to this. Let's dial in some compression. I'm going to go with a fast release. I'm going to go with some light compression. I'm going to go with a 1.5 ratio. All right. And I'm going to dial in the threshold. Just to where I'm getting like 1 dB of gain reduction. All right. So that's about enough. Now I'm going to put that back. Before. All right. So you can see it just adds a little bit more to the kick. It gives it a little bit more click, makes it a little bit more tighter and sit up a little bit. And then you just put it back. All right. So now I want to put some EQ on it. The first thing I want to do to it, give it some air. You want that kick to stand out, so let's give it some air. Let's try the shelf. All right, so it's sounding good with a bell curve at 13K. All right, so now the difference between me actually hitting it with the shelf, if I would have hit it with the shelf, it would have boosted broadly from 16K on down to about 8K, all right, or to 13K, all right. So by me using a bell curve, it actually boosted directly at 13K in just a few different just the frequencies next to 13K, before it and after it kind of boosted a little bit. Okay, now when I use actual a shelving curve, what that is going to do is going to boost from the highest all the way to the where you got the actual frequency set up at. If you don't have if you got the frequency, so for instance, if I bring this frequency down to 8K and I set it right where I got it at a shelf, what that's going to do is make it broader. So it's going to cover more frequencies. It's going to boost more frequencies. So it's going to boost At a shelf, it's going to boost at 16 higher, 16K higher, and it's just going to start rolling down broadly as it get to 8K. All right. Now, I want to put it at 13K directly and accurately. So I'm going to use a bell curve where I can make it attentionally where I want to boost it. And see, now my kick is starting to poke out a little bit. So now I need the gain stage. I need to bring it back to where it won't be so hot. And how I'm going to do that is look at my bus compressor.